All right, y'all. So look, there is a power struggle. There has been a major power struggle going on since 2022 when Russia and Ukraine got into it. And the major power struggle, it's even before that, but that act was the first overt act that we saw that became a military conflict about who was going to dominate, who is going to dominate the next 50 years with their currency. Whoever has the dominant currency makes the rules. The one with the gold makes the rules. The United States, for the last 100 years, when I think it was during Woodrow Wilson's presidency, when they took us off the gold standard, the Federal Reserve was created and took us off the gold standard and just created this Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private bank owned by wealthy families. And the United States dollar, the dollar has been the reserve currency of the world. The petrodollar, all of the transactions involving oil all over the world prior to the Russian-Ukraine conflict were conducted in dollars. If you were a country like Bangladesh and you wanted to buy oil, you could buy the oil, but you had to use the United States dollar, right? You had to use this. If you were Azerbaijan, if you were Portugal, if you were Brazil, if you were Argentina, New Zealand, and you wanted to buy oil, you had to use the dollar. The dollar was the reserve currency of the world, and all transactions related to oil were conducted in the dollar. Now, as of today is November the 15th, 2025, and this is after the Russia-Ukraine war. That's no longer the case, right? Even Saudi Arabia, which is a strong ally, had been a strong ally with the United States, would not sell its oil in no other currency other than the dollar, right? And what does this do when your currency is the primary currency of one of the most sought after natural resources on the planet, which is oil? That puts you in a position of power, right? Your money is constantly circulating in South America. Your money is constantly circulating in the Caribbean. Your money is constantly circulating in Africa. Your money is constantly circulating in North America. Your money is constantly circulating in Asia. Your money is constantly circulating in Europe. So there's always a demand for your money. Now, since the conflict with Russia and Ukraine has gotten underway in 2022, when that happened, the United States cut Russia out of the SWIFT system, SWIFT, which is like a banking system and messaging system. It cut them out of that. And it attempted to turn the rest of the world against Russia and to make them conflict with Ukraine, which we all know that Ukraine is backed by the United States. What that did, when they did that, Russia's currency, the ruble, over the next 48 hours, it fell. It fell. But after 48 hours, the currency began to regain its strength and is still strong to this day. Saudi Arabia no longer just sells its oil in United States dollars. Brazil and China are doing large business transactions in the Chinese yuan. Russia and China are doing large economic business transactions in the Chinese yuan and the Russian ruble. India is buying oil from Russia in the Russian ruble or in the Indian rupee or the Chinese yuan. So what has come about is these countries, namely China, Russia, India, Brazil, and South Africa, have formed an alliance called the BRICS. And what this is a answer. It's a fight back. It's a challenge to the dominance of the U.S. supremacy, the U.S. dollar, the U.S. Unipolar world order, meaning that unipolar, meaning one, where the United States makes all the rules all around the world because their currency is the reserve currency. So they tell everybody what to do. They got the strongest military. It's a unipolar world. That no longer exists. That no longer exists. What exists now is a multipolar world. The United States is still a strong opponent, but China, Russia are neck and neck, just as strong. Militarily, Russia may be the strongest country on the planet. Maybe. China, we don't really know what they're capable of, but when we look at their intelligence and their aptitude for building technology with their cars and their cities, you look at their cities, we only can imagine the type of weapons that they have. They've just never been challenged to the point where they've had to use their weapons. Russia, we've seen Russia over the last 2 to 3 years use their weapons, and they ain't nothing to fuck with. And their leader is willing to tie up his sneakers. He ready to go. He ain't backing down. He ain't punking out. He ready to go. And all of these countries who 50 years ago, 60 years ago, were third world nations that bowed down to the United States, they're no longer that. They're no longer that, right? And they are no longer, and they're showing this with action. This ain't just words out their mouth. They're showing with actions. We not with the nonsense no more. We not bowing down. We not letting you dictate the next 20 years. We're not letting you dictate the next 70 years. We are going to exercise our own right to self-determination. We are going to determine our future. We are going to determine what we do or don't do, and it's not going to be dictated by you. And that's what we see. That's what you're looking at in real time. And if you look at it from a sheer numbers standpoint, let's look at it, because I believe that right now, November the 15th, 2025, China really is the largest economy on the planet. They're just not saying it in the media in the United States. But we know that the media in the United States is a propaganda machine. They tell lies. They don't tell the truth. But let's look at it from a sheer number standpoint, and you make your own decision. China has 1.4 billion people on the planet. America there's only 330 million people here. That's it. There's only 330 million people in the United States. China, the BRICS. Let's look at the BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and the continent of Africa. They make up 80% or more of the world's population. United States makes up 4% of the global people on the planet. 4%. So 96% of all the other people on the planet are outside of America. I think if you add in Europe and Britain and all the countries that are allied with America, it's minuscule. It's minuscule compared to the other countries, these other countries that are on the rise and that are staking their claim to be independent and to chart their future for their kids, their grandkids, and their posterity that they're never going to meet. So, right now, you go and you look at these Chinese cities and what they looked like 60 years ago, 50 years ago, and then look at what they look like today. It's night and day, right? And China has internal consumption, meaning that its citizens buy and purchase goods manufactured by China. So their currency circulates within their continent, in their country. America doesn't produce anything. There is no manufacturing base. We don't make plates, we don't make spoons, we don't make forks, we don't make tables, we don't make chairs, we don't make bras, we don't make panties, we don't make Pampers, we don't make... Everything that we make and we consume says what? Made in China. So the dollar here, our currency, doesn't even circulate here no more. It's shipped over there, and they're using our currency to build their countries. That's why their countries look the way they look. And China owns about $900 billion of United States treasuries that we pay interest to them every quarter. If they're still paying it, they're probably jerking them by now. They're probably not paying them. So the interest that America pays China for the debt that they own in this country, they're using it to develop their nation. And America doesn't make anything other than service businesses, technology. But with technology, you don't need human labor, right? So this is why you got people out of jobs, people working minimum wage and can barely make it because the prices of everything has come unsustainable. Rent, food, because of this currency situation. So this is what's really going on right before our eyes. And dig yourself and dig your situation and look at your life and plan accordingly. Podcast with Soul. Peace.